Okay, so since I've been outside all day, this is what you're gonna get. But so the edge of your plywood looks like this, and it doesn't look like your normal wood, where it would be like this or like that, because it's layered plywood. And plywood, you can get a bigger piece than you can for like a 1x6 or a 1x8. I mean, honestly, you could probably use a fence panel if you wanted to and sand it flat. So this is your edge binding. I did this just to keep it from unraveling, but I don't know if you can see it. See how it's kind of textured? When you iron it onto your plywood, it adheres. So I like to either start a little bit over right here, because you can always cut it off, but as you're heating it and pulling it, it kind of moves. So I would rather you start over, like a little bit hanging over, versus right on the edge, because if you do it right on the edge, by the time you're done, it's gonna look like that, and that's gonna be no bueno. So you do this all the way around, and you just pull it around the corner, and it bends, and it will break a little bit, but it still stays attached so that you can do a 90 degree. But as you're doing that, so if this happens and it's like this at the end, you just take a sander and just lightly go over the corner. But you're gonna wanna line it up with the front. So say I've sanded this side, so I'm gonna want to line this up like this. So I usually put my finger on top and just kind of line it up and iron, and line it up and iron, and line it up and iron. So I sew, and I don't want to use my sewing iron for my wood stuff because that doesn't mix. But this is actual wood, so it will stain. So on my name sign, instead of making it sit here, the edge, I actually connected it right there on the bottom. So that way, if it moved either way, it's not a big deal. So then I did stain all over, and then I did polyurethane. So I did a water-based polyurethane. This is what I used. It's probably backwards, so I apologize, but it's interior water-based polyurethane. So I sprayed it, and then once that dried, I put my vinyl down that I cut on my Cricut. So the white is the vinyl, right? And then the first one I did not poly on top, and I went ahead and I drilled my holes. Well, then that messes up your vinyl. So then, like, it really torques it, and it's weird. So I did my stain, which is my oil-based Varathane wood stain. This one I used, what is it, dark walnut? That's my favorite one. So I did this, and then polyurethane, let it dry, and then I did my vinyl, and then another layer of poly, and let it dry. So you're gonna wanna drill holes at your connecting points. So I've kind of gone a little off kilter, but so I did this. So for here, I planned out that I would come in here, I would go around and go down, come back up, and go back in here. And then I would pull through this, and I would go up, and then around this way. So you could go here and around and then in, and then this one comes out, and then it'll connect here, and then that'll connect my O. So I actually found that I like to overlap them a little bit instead of going through. So like my E, so I came in here, I went up and then went back in, and then I came back out and went around and overlapped my E a little bit so it curves. Oh, and I don't have my battery attached. But what else I was gonna show you? Okay, so I brought everything in here so we can do it. Okay, so like I said, this is gonna be our front just for giggles. We've already sanded this. So now I'm gonna line up my edge. So I'm only doing it this way because we already broke that one piece. So I'm gonna start there. And then I'm gonna pull it around and keep my thumb on the top right here. Let's try lefty. Okay, so I'm gonna line it in here. So along the way, I'm pushing down to make sure that this stays where I need it to. So we're not gonna go all, I guess I can go all the way around. Let's use this for something. Now we're going to turn that corner. I like to take my iron and just do this and push it. And it is going to pop up a little bit, and that's okay, but it gets that angle that you want. So it's going to get kind of a little weird on that. I mean, it's pretty good. Okay, so we're on this last side. So see where this is where I started. So you're gonna overlap it. Remember taking that corner. Ugh. If it gets a little squirrely, just put it back in its place. So we're gonna try something. So I'm gonna overlap it just a titch. And what I did with my name sign is I took like an X-Acto knife or a box cutter and I cut it at that point. So let's try and see if we can break this and sand it off. I might need a box cutter. Oh, nope, that worked. Tear it like duct tape, right? Okay. Le sanda. This is probably gonna be a little bit noisy, but I'm gonna try and show you along the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around the outside just to make sure it's flush. And then I'm gonna go on the back side. See how it has like a little lip all the way around? When you're sanding, you're not gonna touch the side, but you're just gonna kind of roll it because it will break. And majority of the time it's still a little bit hot and kind of tacky and it breaks. But sometimes it goes below the level of your plywood and it breaks uneven. So I've done it before where I break it and then I just pull it off. But it doesn't work like you would think it would because it does still have grain in it and it's gonna break where that grain is. So what I like to do is I like to just kind of put it at the side and roll it over. So that's what I'm gonna show you. Okay, so can you see right here where it's a different color? Where it's the wood color, not the edge binding color. So your wood is coming through. Now, that means it's totally sealed, and then I'll just sand off the rest of this so that it's no longer there. So that one, you can really see how it went through, and I just kept sanding until it just goes away. But like here, this is the perfect example. So here, I did it, it broke, and it's at the perfect level. It's so satisfying. Now you can only pull off just a little bit because I didn't go all the way down. Or it didn't sand through all the way down. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, now I'm asking any more questions. Okay, so I'm threading it through here so that I have less wire when I'm about to glue it. I'm pulling from the back and get it on top, and then I'll push it down. And kind of pull it and then I'll hold it. So then I'm going to come back out of, so when I pull it through here, it's gonna keep going, but it's gonna look like it attaches. I was gonna try and overlap it like I had done my other letters, but to get it up here, to get it from here up to here, like this one, to get it from here to here, I don't think it's gonna work. So I just do it this way. I'm watching Forrest Gump, so I'm sorry if you're hearing that. You just kind of walk it through. And there you go. So here's a good example. So then I'm gonna wanna take it here and come down this way so that I can loop it. So now that I know that this is all nice and set over here, it's really helpful if you have pliers. You're gonna pinch it. And push. So squeezing it here. For this bottom part, I'm definitely gonna get my pliers. Okay, so let's do the rest. You got your glue. Just gonna do a little bit up so that it'll hold when I pinch it. So I'm gonna come down. It's gonna break loose a little bit. And then I'm gonna attach it here, and then I'm gonna attach it there so that it goes over this guy. Let me see, can I zoom? No, but when you use your pliers, it does that. So that's helpful because you can squeeze it. Okay, let's try it this way. Let's see if this is more helpful. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and thread this guy through. I'll line it up to see how much I can actually use. So it's pretty good. I got a little wiggle room right here. So then it's easier to pull from the back and make it tight. There you go.